The penthouse overlooked the harbor like a fortress of glass and steel, 23 floors above the city, where the noise couldn't reach and neither could the world below. Elena Morales wiped down the marble counter for the third time that morning, her movements precise and practiced. At 26, she'd perfected the art of being present without being noticed, a skill that kept food on the table and a roof over her daughter's head. The apartment belonged to Marcus Chen, a 34-year-old venture capitalist whose face appeared on magazine covers with headlines like "The Man Who Sees Tomorrow." But to Elena, he was simply Mr. Chen, polite, distant, and always working. His girlfriend, Victoria Ashford, was a different story entirely. "Elena," the voice cut through the apartment like breaking glass. "Elena, where are you?" Elena set down the cloth and moved quickly toward the master suite. "Yes, Miss Ashford." Victoria stood in front of her closet, designer dresses scattered across the bed like expensive casualties. "These aren't organized by color. I specifically told you color coordination, then by season." "I apologize, Miss Ashford. I'll fix it right away." "You always apologize," Victoria said, examining her reflection. "But somehow things stay the same. Makes me wonder if you're capable of following simple instructions." Elena's jaw tightened, but her voice remained steady. "I understand. It won't happen again." Victoria turned, her expression sharp. "Marcus deserves better than mediocrity. Remember that." As Victoria swept past, her perfume lingered, expensive and suffocating. Elena returned to the closet and began reorganizing, her hands steady even as her heart pounded. She thought of Sofia, her 5-year-old daughter, waiting at her sister's apartment across town. Sofia's laughter, her endless questions, her tiny hand tucked into Elena's during their walks to the park. These were the reasons Elena endured days like this. Just one more year, she told herself. One more year of saving and she could finish her nursing degree. Then everything would change. That evening, Marcus returned home later than usual. Elena was preparing to leave when she heard his briefcase hit the hallway table with unusual force. "Bad day, Mr. Chen?" she asked gently, then immediately regretted speaking. But he surprised her by answering, "You could say that. Nothing went right today." He loosened his tie, looking suddenly exhausted. "Is there any coffee left?" "I'll make fresh," Elena offered. "Thank you, Elena." They were simple words, but they carried genuine gratitude. She noticed then what she'd somehow missed before, the weariness in his eyes, the way his shoulders carried invisible weight. 10 minutes later, she brought him coffee in his study. He looked up from his laptop, and for a moment their eyes met, really met. "You have a daughter, don't you?" he asked suddenly. Elena blinked, surprised. "Yes, sir, Sofia, she's 5. "Where is she right now?" "With my sister. I pick her up after work." He nodded slowly. "That must be hard, being away from her all day." Elena's throat tightened. "No one ever asked about Sofia." "It is, but she's the reason I do this, the reason I keep going." Something shifted in his expression, a crack in the professional distance he usually maintained. "I lost my mother when I was 7. She worked 3 jobs to keep us afloat. I remember waiting for her to come home, counting the hours." "I'm sorry," Elena said softly. "Don't be. She taught me that love shows up, it works, it sacrifices." He paused. "Your daughter is lucky to have you." The words settled over Elena like a blanket on a cold night. She nodded, not trusting her voice, and quietly left the room. But something had changed in that conversation. A door had opened, just slightly. The following week, Victoria announced she'd be traveling to Milan for Fashion Week. The apartment transformed the moment her suitcase left the building. The air felt lighter, breathable. "Try not to make a disaster while I'm gone," Victoria had said to Elena before leaving. "And stay out of the master bedroom. That space isn't for people like you." "People like you." The words echoed long after the door closed. Elena stood in the vast living room listening to the silence. For the first time in months she exhaled fully. No sharp voices, no impossible standards, just quiet. Then she remembered. Sofia's school had called the previous day. A stomach bug was spreading through the class and they were closing early all week. Her sister couldn't take Sofia. She had her own children to manage and a day job that didn't allow flexibility. Elena checked her phone. She'd already used her emergency days. If she called out now, she risked losing this job. But leaving Sofia alone was unthinkable. She called Marcus, her heart hammering. "Mr. Chen, I have a situation. My daughter's school is closed this week due to illness, and I don't have childcare. I know this is unprofessional, but would it be possible?" "Bring her here," he said simply. "I'm sorry." "Bring Sofia here. She can stay with you while you work. Victoria's away and I work from home most days anyway. It's fine." Elena felt tears prick her eyes. "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much." "See you tomorrow, Elena." If you're enjoying this story so far, I'd love for you to hit that like button and subscribe for more heartfelt stories like this one. And please, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Elena and Marcus's journey. Now, let's continue. The next morning, Elena arrived with Sofia holding her hand. The little girl's eyes went wide as they stepped into the penthouse. "Mama, this is like a castle," Sofia whispered, clutching her small backpack. "Remember what we talked about," Elena said gently. "Inside voices, gentle hands, and you stay with Mama, okay?" Sofia nodded solemnly, her dark curls bouncing. Marcus appeared in the hallway, and Sofia immediately ducked behind her mother's legs. "You must be Sofia," he said, crouching down to her level. "I'm Marcus. Your mom works very hard to keep this place nice." Sofia peeked out. "My mama is the best." "I believe that," Marcus said seriously. "Do you like books, Sofia?" The little girl's face lit up. "I love books." "Good, because I have a whole shelf in my office that nobody reads. Maybe you can help me with that." He glanced at Elena. "If that's okay with your mom." Elena nodded, overwhelmed by his kindness. The morning passed smoothly. Sofia colored quietly while Elena cleaned, occasionally asking her mother questions in whispered Spanish. Marcus worked in his study, the door open, classical music drifting into the hallway. Around noon, Elena prepared lunch, simple sandwiches and fruit. Sofia helped, standing on a stool to wash strawberries, humming a song under her breath. "What's that song?" Elena asked. "The one you sing, Mama, about the butterfly and the wind." Elena smiled. It was an old song her own mother had sung, passed down through generations. Without thinking, she began humming along as they worked together. Sofia giggled and started swaying to the melody. "Dance with me, Mama." Elena glanced toward Marcus's study. The door was closed now. He was in a video meeting. "Just for a minute," Elena said, wiping her hands. She pulled Sofia into the center of the kitchen and they began to move together. Elena sang softly in Spanish, her voice carrying the melody her mother had taught her, a song about freedom, about wings, about hope that couldn't be caged. Sofia spun in circles, her laughter like bells, and Elena followed, guiding her daughter through simple steps. For those few minutes, they weren't in someone else's home. They weren't aware of boundaries or class or the weight of tomorrow. They were simply mother and daughter, dancing in the light that poured through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Elena's voice grew stronger, the lyrics flowing naturally. She lifted Sofia and spun her around, both of them laughing breathlessly. The song reached its crescendo, a moment of pure, uninhibited joy. They didn't hear the study door open. Marcus had ended his meeting early. He'd stepped out to get water and froze in the doorway. There in his kitchen was Elena, not the quiet, careful woman who kept her eyes down and her voice small. This Elena was radiant. Her movements were graceful and unself-conscious, her voice rich and genuine, and in her arms was a child absolutely glowing with happiness. The song ended with Sofia's giggle and Elena's soft laughter. They stood catching their breath, foreheads touching. "I love you, Mama," Sofia said. "I love you more," Elena whispered. "Excuse me." Elena spun around, her face draining of color. Sofia clutched her mother's leg. "Mr. Chen, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have." Marcus held up a hand. His expression was unreadable. "What was that song?" Elena swallowed hard. It's a Spanish lullaby. My mother used to sing it. I didn't mean to disturb you. It won't happen again." "No, I mean." He stepped closer, and Elena saw something in his eyes she hadn't seen before, wonder. "That was beautiful. Your voice, the way you moved with her, that was real." Elena didn't know what to say. Sofia whispered, "Are you mad at my mama?" Marcus crouched down again, meeting Sofia's worried eyes. "Not even a little bit. Actually, I was just thinking this apartment has been too quiet for too long." He looked up at Elena. "Thank you for sharing that." "You're not upset," Elena managed. "Upset?" Marcus stood, a small smile appearing. "Elena, I've lived in this place for 3 years. That's the first time it's felt like a home." Something passed between them then, a recognition, an understanding that went beyond employer and employee. "Could I ask you something?" Marcus said carefully. "Why do you make yourself so small here?" Elena's breath caught. No one had ever asked her that. "Because," she said quietly, "that's how I stay safe. That's how I keep this job so I can take care of my daughter. Small means invisible. Invisible means I don't cause problems." Marcus nodded slowly. "What if I told you that you don't have to do that anymore? Not here." "I don't understand." "I mean that you're not just—" He stopped himself, choosing his words carefully. "You're not just someone who cleans this apartment. You're a mother, a person with a beautiful voice and a daughter who clearly adores you, and none of that should have to be hidden." Elena felt tears threaten. Victoria wouldn't. "Victoria doesn't live here," Marcus said firmly. "I do, and I'm saying you don't have to disappear to be safe." Sofia tugged her mother's hand. "Mama, why are you crying?" "Happy tears, baby," Elena whispered. Marcus straightened. "Keep singing if you want, play music. Let Sofia be a kid. This is just a building full of expensive things. You two, you're what makes it matter." He returned to his study, leaving Elena standing in the kitchen, her world quietly rearranging itself. Over the following days, the apartment transformed. Marcus had actually meant what he said. When Elena hesitated to turn on music, he turned it on himself. When Sofia asked questions, he answered patiently, even pulling out a telescope to show her the harbor at sunset. "You're good with her," Elena observed one evening as Marcus taught Sofia to identify constellations. "My mother used to do this with me," he said quietly. "She'd point at the sky and tell me that no matter how hard things got, we were all under the same stars. Rich people, poor people, everyone. It made the world feel less lonely." Sofia yawned, leaning against Elena. "I like the stars." "Me too, Pequeña," Elena said, smoothing her daughter's hair. Marcus watched them, something shifting in his chest. He'd built an empire, made millions, had his face on magazine covers, but he'd forgotten what it felt like to be human, to be seen. Elena met his eyes over Sofia's head. Neither of them spoke, but the question hung in the air between them. "What happens when Victoria comes back?" Victoria's return was announced via text, landing tomorrow at 10 a.m. Make sure everything is perfect. Elena's stomach dropped. She'd known this peace couldn't last. She arrived early the next morning without Sofia. Her sister had finally been able to help again. The apartment felt colder somehow, bracing itself. Marcus was already up, drinking coffee at the counter. "Elena, about Victoria coming back." "I know, Mr. Chen. I'll stay out of sight. Everything will go back to normal." "That's not what I was going to say." The door opened before he could finish. Victoria swept in, designer luggage trailing behind her. Finally, civilization again. Milan was exhausting. She spotted Elena. Still here, I thought I'd walk into something resembling order. Everything's clean, Miss Ashford, Elena said quietly. We'll see about that. Victoria disappeared into the master bedroom. Marcus's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. The next few days were tense. Victoria found fault with everything: towels folded wrong, windows not clean enough, dinner reservations made incorrectly. Elena absorbed it all, returning to her pattern of staying small, staying invisible. But Marcus noticed. He noticed the way Elena's shoulders curved inward when Victoria entered a room. He noticed her voice getting quieter, her smiles disappearing. He noticed, and it bothered him more than it should have. One afternoon, as Elena cleaned the living room, she heard voices raised in the bedroom. You're different lately, Victoria said accusingly. Distant. I've been working, Marcus replied evenly. It's more than that. You barely looked at me at the charity gala, and you've been, I don't know, softer. It's not attractive, Marcus. People expect you to be powerful, not emotional. Maybe I'm tired of being what people expect. Don't be ridiculous. You're Marcus Chen, that's who you are. Is it, or is that just who you need me to be? Silence, then Victoria's voice sharp as glass. This is about her, isn't it? Her who? The maid. I saw the way you looked at her when I came back, like she's some kind of saint instead of the help. Her name is Elena, Marcus said quietly. And she's a mother working 3 times as hard as she should have to because people like us don't see her humanity. People like us, Victoria laughed coldly. Don't put me in the same category as your sudden social conscience, Marcus. I know what I am. You're the one confused. Elena fled to the kitchen, her heart pounding. She shouldn't have heard that. She couldn't unhear it. That evening, after Victoria stormed out to meet friends, Marcus found Elena preparing to leave. Elena, wait. She turned, keeping her eyes down. Yes, Mr. Chen. Look at me, please. She did. His expression was complicated, frustrated, uncertain, but determined. I need to tell you something, and I need you to really hear me, he said. What Victoria said earlier, it wasn't wrong. Not entirely. Elena's breath caught. I have looked at you differently, Marcus continued, because you showed me something I'd forgotten existed: genuine joy, real love, the kind of grace that comes from keeping your humanity intact when the world tells you to be hard. He took a breath. You and Sofia dancing, that changed something in me. Mr. Chen, I don't think. I'm ending things with Victoria, he said simply. Not because of you, but because I finally see clearly. We're not right for each other. We never were. She needs someone who will be the powerful, emotionless figurehead, and I need to be someone who remembers what it means to be human. Elena shook her head. You can't do this. She'll blame me. I'll lose this job and I need. You won't lose anything, Marcus said firmly. And I'm not asking you for anything, Elena. I'm just telling you the truth. You deserve to know that you matter, that your presence here has meant something. Tears slipped down Elena's cheeks. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, just keep being yourself, keep singing, keep dancing with your daughter. The world needs more of that. The conversation with Victoria happened 2 days later. It was painful but necessary. She left with fury and expensive luggage, promising that he'd regret choosing poverty over prestige. The apartment grew quiet again, but this time it was the good kind of quiet. Marcus asked Elena if she'd consider bringing Sofia back during the day. If you're comfortable with it, I liked having life here. Sofia returned, and with her came laughter and music and questions that reminded Marcus why any of it mattered. One evening, after Sofia had fallen asleep on the couch clutching a book Marcus had given her, Elena found him on the balcony. Thank you, she said softly, for seeing us, for making space for us to be human. Thank you for teaching me how, Marcus replied. He turned to her. Elena, I want to ask you something, and please don't feel any pressure, but would you consider letting me help you finish your nursing degree? She blinked. What? You mentioned once that you were 1 year away from finishing. I'd like to fund it, not as charity, as an investment. In you, in the person who reminded me what matters. Marcus, I can't accept. Why not? Because of pride, because you think you have to do everything alone. His voice was gentle. You've given me something invaluable. Let me give something back. Elena's hands trembled. I don't know if I can accept something that big. Think about it, he said. No strings attached, just an opportunity. Over the following weeks, they settled into a new rhythm. Elena brought Sofia regularly. Marcus taught her chess and showed her how his computer programs worked. Elena cooked meals that filled the apartment with warmth and spices that reminded Marcus of his childhood. And they talked, really talked, about their mothers, about sacrifice, about dreams deferred and hope stubborn enough to survive. One Saturday afternoon, Elena found Marcus and Sofia in his study, heads bent together over a drawing. What's this? She asked. Mr. Marcus is teaching me buildings, Sofia announced proudly. Marcus smiled. Architecture, technically. She's designing a house where everyone gets their own room. Everyone needs their own special place, Sofia said seriously. Elena's heart clenched. Sofia had never had her own room. They shared a single bedroom in her sister's crowded apartment. Marcus caught Elena's expression. Later, when Sofia was occupied with her coloring books, he approached Elena. I've been thinking, he said carefully. I own another property, a 3-bedroom townhouse in the Arts District. It's been sitting empty. I'd like you and Sofia to live there. No rent, just let me do this. Marcus, that's too much. It's not enough, he interrupted. Elena, you work for me, yes, but you've also become. He paused, choosing his words carefully. You've become important to me, both of you, not as employee and employer, as people I care about. Elena's eyes filled with tears. Why are you doing this? Because I watched my mother break herself working to give me chances, and now I have the resources to give someone else's mother a chance. Let me do this, please. That night, Elena signed the papers. She and Sofia moved into the townhouse the following week. Sofia ran through the empty rooms, her laughter echoing off walls that would soon hold their life, their memories, their joy. Mama, we have a house. Sofia spun in circles in what would be her bedroom. Elena stood in the doorway, overwhelmed. Marcus appeared beside her, hands in his pockets. Thank you, she whispered. I don't have better words than that, but thank you. You're welcome, he said simply. They stood in comfortable silence as Sofia continued exploring, her happiness a bright thread weaving through every room. Elena, Marcus said quietly, I need to be honest with you about something. She turned to face him. These past months, he continued, spending time with you and Sofia, it's made me rethink everything. My priorities, what success actually means, what kind of life I want to live. He met her eyes. And I've realized that the moments I feel most myself are the ones I spend with you. Elena's breath caught. Marcus. I'm not asking you to feel the same way, he said quickly. I just need you to know where I stand. You've changed my life. Both of you have. And whatever happens from here, whether it stays friendship or becomes something else, I'm grateful. Elena stepped closer. You changed our lives too. You saw us when we were invisible. You made space for us to be whole people. She smiled through tears. And for what it's worth, the moments I feel most myself are the ones I spend with you too. Something shifted, the air, the light, the future. Can I take you to dinner sometime? Marcus asked, a nervous smile appearing. A real dinner, not employer and employee, just us. I'd like that, Elena said softly. In the background, Sofia's voice rang out. Mama, come see. You can see the stars from my window. They both laughed, the sound natural and warm. Duty calls, Elena said. The best kind, Marcus agreed. 6 months later, Elena graduated from nursing school. Marcus and Sofia sat in the front row, cheering louder than anyone when Elena's name was called. Sofia held a sign that read "My Mama is a Nurse" in crayon. At the celebration dinner afterward, Sofia fell asleep against Marcus's shoulder, while Elena told stories about her clinicals. You're good with her, Elena said, watching them. She's easy to love, Marcus replied, smoothing Sofia's hair gently. So are you, Elena said quietly. Their eyes met across the table. He reached for her hand and she took it. It wasn't a fairy tale, it was something better. It was real. It was built on respect and recognition, and the quiet courage of two people who'd learned to see each other's humanity. 3 years later, on a Saturday afternoon, they stood in the garden of the townhouse, now truly their home, while Sofia helped plant flowers. She was 8 now, confident and kind, with her mother's warmth and Marcus's curiosity. The roses are going to be so pretty, Sofia announced, dirt on her knees and joy in her voice. Elena and Marcus stood side by side, his arm around her shoulders, her head against his chest. Who would have thought, Elena said softly, that one dance in a borrowed kitchen would lead here? I did, Marcus said. From the moment I heard you sing, I knew nothing would be the same. Do you regret it, she asked, the life you had before? He turned to look at her, this woman who'd taught him what it meant to be seen and to see others. Not for a single second. This, you, Sofia, this garden, these quiet Saturdays, this is the life I was always supposed to have. I just had to learn how to recognize it. Sofia ran over, handing them each a flower, for being the best family ever. They knelt down together, the three of them making a small circle in the garden, a circle of love built on kindness, patience, and the courage to be human in a world that often asked for less. Thank you so much for watching this story. If it touched your heart, please subscribe for more meaningful stories about courage, kindness, and the quiet moments that change everything. And remember, sometimes the people we overlook are the ones who teach us how to truly live. Drop a comment below and share what this story meant to you. Until next time, keep recognizing the humanity in everyone you meet.